forgot what day of the week it was. Brandy, what's up, Chica? How you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Look like Cleveland K joined us. I think she coming in. Hey, Cleveland K, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
Good. I proclaim
Victory
today.
Monday.
Yeah, Victory Monday. I said Victory Tuesday. See, this daylight savings time got me messed up already.
I had I
I
had
know.
Victory Tuesday, then Victory Wednesday, then Victory Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm gonna have a victory day until they lose again.
How you get a victory day every day?
Did they lose?
The Cavs?
The Cavs or the Browns?
Nah, the Browns ain't lost, so they ain't
Cavs are on an
won.
8-1 run.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Cavs right now. The Browns are on their bye week, getting their rest and stuff like that. So we're going to focus on Cavs to start the show because we be forgetting that there's another team in town.
I don't know who we is. We know. We know about the Guardians and the Cavaliers. It's everybody else that we got to tell.
I miss my Guardians.
I know. I know.
But
Now
can we
that,
talk about we have 4 Golden Glove winners, which is the most in franchise history in a single
yeah,
season.
man.
Which is
Yeah, man.
amazing considering some of those teams we've had in the 90s and
Mm-hmm.
the 20 teens. I guess that's how you'd call it. It's
Mm-hmm.
truly amazing.
Yeah, so shout out to Stephen Kwan. Shout out to Miles Straw. Shout out to Shane Bieber and Andres Jimenez won, right?
Yep, them 4.
Okay, yeah. Shout out to the four of them for getting a golden glove. I'm not a Houston fan or what have you by any stretch of the imagination because of cheating scandal. But if I could remove my feelings out of it, it was nice for Dusty Baker to be able to get a
No,
ring.
no, no,
He's the
no,
only, and one of the reasons why is
no.
he's only the third black manager in the history of baseball of all the World Series titles to obtain a World Series. I wish he could have did it with another team. He won as a player, with another team, but this is the first time as a head coach. And I hate Houston. I was rooting for Philly. I was actually rooting for the Padres to actually make it to the World Series.
Okay, but looking at how Philly played all season and then how they played in the postseason versus how they played against Houston, there's something still going on. I'm sorry. I'm not. No, Houston isn't that good. Not for what they did to Philly. Something's up. I can't. I can't even. Let's not talk about that anymore. Let's go back and talk about the Cavs.
Well, Philly had their chances though too, so I was rooting for Philly. They had the opportunity and they had their chances, but I guess I just got to give some respect to the Astros.
Nope.
Hopefully they're not cheat. Every team cheats. The Cleveland Guardians out there cheating. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
If you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing.
So,
There's
so everybody doing some form of cheating.
there's limits to what I'll put up with. If you can cheat with your own eyes and your own ears, shame on the other team for doing whatever they did. But when you get technology involved, that's shenanigans. I'm not having it.
Yeah, I prefer old school cheating. Like
Because if I can't have
steroids and stuff like
technology tell
that.
me whether a pitch is a ball or a strike, then technology ain't got no place in the game.
Okay, so did y'all hear about the one umpire before we get to the Cavs? The one umpire, I can't remember which game, but he called it perfectly. Did y'all hear about the umpire?
Yes.
Every call was 100% correct.
Yeah, they went back and ran every single pitch through what a scanner would have called them, and he was dead on every single one.
That is amazing. So shout out to him, a ref that's doing things right. All right.
But that's the question, right? Is it amazing, or are there a lot more of them calling them all right and we just don't know? I would love them to analyze every single game of the season just so you know, is he that special, or are we just not giving a lot of these umpires credit?
Well, every pitch that's not a strike, we feel like they're calling them wrong. So.
Yeah, true.
So
if they don't swing at it, it's a ball.
Yeah, every pitch that's not in my team's favor, the ref sucks. So the umpire sucks. So I don't know. I think we're kind of biased, and then how they put that square on the TV and then they show us outside, but they called it a strike, and you're just like, what in the world? So kudos to him for taking his job seriously and calling the game. I think refs try. Speaking now as a ref, we try our best, and it is really hard to officiate. I'm like, parents think that they can do it better, and people, the players think that they can do it better. Even if they got out there, they would miss calls too. It just happens.
Agreed, but I wish there was in any of the sports, particularly football, I think, but in any of them, I wish the refs had the ability to do a replay. So you get somebody jumping off sides and someone's, on the offense and he's pointing at a defender who jumped and the defender's pointing at him for jumping and the refs are all looking at each other. If they didn't see it, they should be able to go, you know what, let me go look at the film and let me go see what just happened. In any of the sports, the refs should have an option. If someone can't say for 100% they saw it, they should be able to go back and look at tape.
Everything should be reviewable.
Maybe not a coach's review, but it should be the option of somebody in the game or on the field to review everything.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. But give it to officials, it's a lot harder. But I would think in baseball, because it doesn't move constantly, other sports where you have constant movement, 100%, like field hockey and lacrosse, it's a little bit harder because in field hockey, you're looking to see if the ball touches the player's feet. Well, you got a scrum up there, you got 22 legs in there sometimes.
Well, so and sometimes you're running out the way and watching to make sure you don't get hit by someone so you don't see a play that's going on behind you because you're protecting yourself, right? So I think there are times, even in baseball, it feels like baseball has the most range as far as things that you can review and look at again. Or maybe there's just not that many things in baseball to look at, right? Was he safe or out? Was the ball in or out? Those kind of things. There's not as many variables as you get with other sports. You don't have fouls on people, personal fouls and stuff. I'm still trying to figure out, let's go talk Cavaliers. I'm still trying to figure out that foul they called Allen on the other day because he didn't let some guy come down and guy stepped on his foot and it was Allen's fault for having his foot in the way. What is that?
What game was this? Was this against the Lakers?
I want to say it was either Lakers or Detroit. It was just this weird thing where the guy jumped up and when he came down, he had stepped on Allen's foot and kind of lost his balance. And apparently that's some kind of new rule is you've got to give way and let them have a place to land. But it wasn't like he moved under him or anything. His foot just happened to be there and Allen got called for it for a flagrant one or something. It was, I don't understand it.
Well, I missed that. I missed the majority of the game on Friday. I caught the very end of it. What I did see was in yesterday's game, they did everything possible to get a game to the LA Lakers. Now that I did see. There was a lot of suspect calls that went the Lakers' way.
I'm still trying to figure out in the Detroit game where we just totally annihilated them. If Darius and D were really hurt.
Yeah.
Or if that was just JB's polite way of saying, we don't need them to beat you. They need a break. We're on a back-to-back road trip. We're going to say they got hurt in the last game against Boston just to save your pride. But they didn't look hurt at all when they were jumping up and down on the sidelines celebrating that win.
Yeah, I don't think they were hurt either. Because I was like, man, dog, for real? Like they just started the season. Like, how are they both hurt going down? Yeah. But I think he just wanted to give them some rest before the West Coast trip.
Well, especially Darius with his eye just coming back from that injury. Just give him a little more time to just rest and be at 100% before he had to go play LA.
So what are y'all thinking about this Cavs team right now? It's so early in the season, but I'm just super excited for this team and what I feel like their end game could possibly be. What are y'all thinking overall of this team? They're 9 games in, they're 8-1, they're number 2 in the NBA power rankings. They're right behind the Milwaukee Bucks, who are 9-0. This team is 3 points from being 9-0 as well. So what are you guys' thoughts about this team? Brandy, we'll start with you.
Yeah, last year they were in the play-in and, they did have some injuries late in the season. But I think, this year they started off very well. They've been great on the defensive side. They're in the top 3 on defense right now as well. And as well, we look at Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. They are great on the offensive side, which I think they definitely have that advantage compared to other teams, with how big the Cavs are on that side. They are very dynamic on offense. But I also can't wait to see Ricky Rubio come back. I know he's going to help out the bench a lot. It'll also allow, Darius to be able to take a break, which he wasn't able to do last season much when Ricky Rubio wasn't there. And also his leadership helps.
Yeah, my husband is a huge basketball fan, a huge Cavs fan. So that means
Is he?
we've watched every single game beginning to end.
Oh,
Um,
good.
I had to yell at him to put the Buckeyes back on because the Cavs are on, like, because the Buckeyes struggled this week. But which is what kind of what the Cavs remind me of right now. So when the Buckeyes play teams that aren't as good as they are, they struggle. They've been struggling the last few weeks because I think they get the absolute best those teams have to offer. It's like their Super Bowl or something. So they are really up for it. And I think the Cavs have been largely overlooked by all the other NBA teams, really, since LeBron left. And when you start off the season like they have, it makes everyone look at you twice and they take you more serious. And we're going to get better games from people. We're going to get a lot more attention. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing at this point. It makes me nervous because watching them try to get back into the rhythm of things when with Darius played in the first game, he got hurt and then he's out for like 7 games and
13
then he's
minutes.
finally back in and they got to figure out how to play with him, rework, their groupings on the floor and stuff. JB's trying a couple different sets to see how they work and try to get, Darius worked back into the swing of things and back in rhythm. And I think we're going to see something similar when Rubio comes back. Even though he's coming off the bench, I think there's going to be a rough couple games while he's shaking that rust off and getting back into the swing of things. And I don't want fans to think if they, lose a couple here and there over the next 2-3 weeks that they'll just turn them off. I mean, the nice thing is the Browns aren't doing nothing. So maybe maybe they won't go watch football and forget about the Cavs because I really like this team. They've got a lot of the same qualities team that the Guardians have. They're young, they're having fun, they're just their enthusiasm and stuff. They're fun to watch. They're never out of it. They're down by 13, 15 points, and they still find a way to come back from that. I'm hoping as the season progresses, they can stop doing that to where they're getting down by that much. They go from up by 5 to down by 13. It's like, no, you can't allow that kind of a swing in points. You've got to keep it closer than that. So I'm hoping as the season progresses, we see less of those where they have to do a big comeback and just can dominate periods like they did the other day. They were like the third period was insane against Detroit. And then even in that Lakers game, they seem to have one period that is just better than the other three. So I'm excited to watch what they do. And we'll see how the season goes. We'll see if we can stay healthy now, if we can get, if Darius can get really back into the swing of things.
Yeah, they said one of the things is JB gives these halftime talks, that's really inspiring to them. And they claim that's where they got it from because yesterday, JB was given that junkyard dog chain. That's a big deal and given to the MVP of the game. And it was given to the coach. I don't know if you guys saw the video, but it was a little trickaroo on them. And JB was like, well, I want to give out the chain. And he goes to the box and it's empty. And all of a sudden, Kevin Love comes out of nowhere and was like, this chain is for, John Blair Bickerstaff for the way that he gave his halftime talk. And we came back and, they all surrounded him and took the picture and all that other stuff. So it was really cute. But, coming out of those half times when they realized that they're not playing the brand of basketball that is Cavaliers basketball. And I think it's slowly starting to come to them what Cavs basketball truly is and go out and execute. Because yesterday, the way that, is like when they play against LeBron, when he plays for other teams, LeBron always likes to exert his will against the Cavaliers, and when he was with the Miami Heat, when he was with the LA Lakers. And you could just tell yesterday, well, first of all, LeBron isn't chasing championships anymore at this point. But, they wanted to be able to, exert their will against the Cleveland Cavaliers. But this LA Lakers team just isn't talented enough to be able to do that. But they got up early. Cleveland didn't get out to a good start. They were 10 points behind, but slowly but surely they started chipping away. And then in the third period, they started playing lockdown defense once they got that lead, and it, changed scores a couple times. But once they got that lead, they never really looked back. They gave up more points, in that half, they gave up more points than typical in the game in like before halftime. But after
Yeah.
that, they locked down on defense and played a lot better. So, I can respect that. And slowly but surely, they're figuring out what they want to do and how to do it.
Well, the chain thing is fun because a couple days ago, JB gave the chain to the whole team. He said it was a
Okay.
team win, it was a team effort. He didn't single anybody out. He gave it to the whole team. So he kind of set the precedent that it didn't have to just be one player. So I love that Kevin Love gave it to him, and it's a good sign because I have been very critical of JB and his coaching style,
Mm-hmm.
and so far this year I had no problems with him.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and take our first break. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU at 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
This Friday, November 11th, Mayor Justin Morris Bibb, the City of Cleveland's Community Relations Board, and Ward 5, Councilman Richard A. Starr invite you to celebrate former members of the Armed Forces at the Veterans Day celebration, beginning at 11 a.m. at Cleveland City Hall. The ceremonies kick off inside the City Hall Rotunda, 601 Lakeside Avenue. That's 11 a.m., followed by the Veterans Day Parade, marching on at noon. And just a few feet away at Cleveland Public Auditorium, veterans, their spouses, and their families can get assistance at the Veterans Resource Fair from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. An ID is required. For more information, contact Edwin Harris at 216-664-3578 or Donna Butler at 216-664-2309. We honor those who have served and protected our country and communities at this year's Veterans Day celebration, November 11th at Cleveland City Hall, 11 a.m. sharp, starting at the City Hall Rotunda and continuing at Cleveland Public Hall. The Veterans Day celebration is supported by Mayor Bibb and the City of Cleveland, the Cuyahoga County Veterans Service Commission, Ohio Means Jobs, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Cuyahoga Community College, Case Western Reserve University, the United Way of Greater Cleveland, the Red All Green Partnership, Ward 5 Councilman Richard Starr, and WOVU 95.9 FM. Our Voices United, Burton Belcart Community Radio.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. Remember, you can always keep it locked on your regular radio dial at 95.9 FM. You can always download the WOVU app and take us with you on the go. You can also watch online, and you can go to WOVU.org. And you can always call the station 216, I believe it's 2710959. I should know that number by heart, shouldn't I? I give it like every week, so it's slowly coming to me. I'm like, I don't know anybody's number by heart anymore because with a cell phone you don't have to. So 2710959. So I am back with Cleveland Kate and Brandy Fairfax, and we are discussing some Cleveland Cavaliers. They are a team that's getting a little bit lost. We love the Cleveland Browns, but sometimes the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Cleveland Guardians are the stepsisters to the Cleveland Browns. So right now they're on a brutal road trip. They were able to get a huge win yesterday against the Lakers. They play the Clippers tonight. So they're on a brutal road trip, and they still have the Kings left. They still have the Warriors left. And then they come back home November 13th and they play against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So they're against Western teams the next four more games. And then on November 16th, at 8 p.m. they take on the Bucks, and I think that might actually be a national game. I'm thinking if it's an 8 p.m. start time, that might be a national game. So I think that that's very exciting. The first national game was also an exciting game too because they beat Boston twice in 1 week, both times in overtime. So they were able to do that on national TV. So I think that that's very exciting. So George says, after yesterday, don't the Lakers envision being like the Cavs? Well, erase the roster and rebuild it along with picks that they need. And George also says, Cleveland Kate, explain how Jeff Saturday has been plucked from ESPN to coach the Colts for now. I know this is not Browns talk, but Irsay always makes out of box choices or statements, makes out of the box choices or statements. I guess we could touch upon that for a hot second while since he asked.
Yeah, it's a hot mess in Indy right now. They thought bringing in, Carson Wentz was going to do something for them. They can't score points. They can't score any points. So I love the idea of Jeff Saturday on their coaching roster. I know what his experience is in the NFL. I just don't know how effective he's going to be, and it might be too late at this point. I don't have I'm having technical difficulties, so I'm on my phone instead of my laptop. I can't even go look up, their contract situation for their quarterback. I don't know. Oh wait, they got Matt Ryan, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
They got Matt Ryan.
Who I believe they're benching.
They should just be quiet and tank and get themselves a quarterback. Suck for luck again, right? Get themselves a quarterback in the draft. I was thinking Carson Wentz, but no, they got Matt Ryan. It's got to be his last year, so it's a 1-year deal. So,
what'd you say, Brandy?
I said, yeah, they've already benched him. I know he also has a shoulder injury, but they said they were going to bench him either way, whether he got hurt or not.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't been good, and the whole team is not good. So it's not a situation like you see in Carolina where Baker Mayfield got the start of the season with Darnold hurt, and then when Baker got hurt or whatever it is they're saying, they brought in Eason, and then they brought in PJ Walker, and PJ Walker is lighting it up. Even after getting rid of Christian McCaffrey, they're actually playing better without him. There's a lot of talent on that Panthers team. But that's not the situation in Indy. It really doesn't matter who the quarterback is right now. That team is a hot mess.
I thought it was interesting that a clip resurfaced. Peyton Manning cussing out Jeff Saturday that one day when they got into it on the bench and stuff like that. So that clip has reemerged today, but I think it's just kind of unfortunate that they chose him given he doesn't have any NFL coaching experience over plenty of other people who are qualified and have coached in the league as well. You're plucking somebody out of high school, and overlooking a lot of qualified candidates who do have that experience in the NFL. So I'm kind of against that, but at the end of the day,
tweeted, who was it? Zach Jackson tweeted, seriously, an NFL team hired a high school coach, ESPN analyst, and that team wasn't the Browns. Burn your bingo cards. Like what? That was something you figure that's like something the Browns would do?
It was very Brownsian.
It was very Brownsian. I don't know. It depends on if they want him to actually coach X's and O's or if they want him to coach mentality and what it means to play in the NFL and the intensity and the work ethic and the film, like the stuff from the player's point of view that what he knows brings weight. The teams that he's been on were good. The experiences he's had are amazing. He can bring his experience to those conversations and get into the heads of these guys. They want him to actually, work on X's and O's and plays. That'll be interesting to see how he does, because you're right, he doesn't have any experience in doing that in the NFL, but he has NFL experience. He understands the game.
Yeah, he played.
We'll see if he can translate that to these players.
Yeah, he played. He was a very successful player. Yeah. I think 6-time Pro Bowl selection, Super Bowl champion. So obviously he did his job very well.
Buckeye.
Father what?
He played with the father of my new favorite Buckeye.
Who your new favorite Buckeye?
Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh.
This year, because he's going out for the draft next year.
Oh yeah.
He just with his helmet on, just looking at him on the field, he's a little bit taller. He so much reminds me of watching his dad play. Watched his play for many years. Was on many a fantasy football team of mine. Peyton Manning and some Marvin Harrison. So I just love watching Junior play for the Buckeyes. I'm super excited for how much he's grown this year. We'll see if I'd like to keep him another year, but I kind of have a feeling that, money talks, right? As good as he is, he's going to.
He already come from money, so money shouldn't talk that much. But
he needs to make money in college now, so.
Yeah, but his dad is a millionaire. He ain't struggling like I was at Ohio State.
Playing during the years of the fat contracts.
Huh?
I don't know if he was playing during the years of the big fat contracts. I don't know if he was right on the edge of that. I don't know where he was at. I'd have to go Google his lifetime earnings. I mean, he ain't hungry. You know what I mean? He ain't worried
Yeah.
about tuition payments or anything like that. His
He
bills
ain't
are paid.
my
But
my job in college. I made $5.15. I made more than football players, but y'all, they
I
drove
made
around in the fancy cars.
2
So, what'd you say,
I
Kate?
made $2. I made $2.35 an hour because I was waiting tables and they could pay you sub minimum wage if you made tips.
Yeah, I wasn't very good at waitressing, so that
I was
that wasn't something that lasted very long
not
for
good
me.
money waiting tables, Carl.
Yeah, if you was good
Trust me.
at it, I wasn't good at it.
I mean, if you know what you're doing and you get at the right place, you can make good money waiting tables.
Well, I didn't know what I was doing.
Brandy, you ever waited tables?
Nope, I haven't.
It's an experience and patience, let me tell you,
Hmm.
for sure.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think? We're going to go back to basketball really quickly before we get into some football talk. What do you guys think about Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland playing together so seamlessly?
It's crazy to see, so quick. They've only, played like two full games together now. So to see them this early on meshing so well, it's just, I can't wait to see, once we're closer to towards the end of the season in March, April, when it's crunch time, just to see how much more they're going to grow even together, to see how well they're starting off the season, including everyone else. It's just good to see. And I love the idea of the junkyard dog chain. I was going to say earlier, it just makes it seems like they are so excited after every game to take the picture. It just gives them that extra motivation, I think, during every game.
Hmm.
Yeah, those are that's the fun side of what they call, the billboard material. Instead of having things that somebody, the other team said about you to get you fired up to play, you're firing yourself up to play because you want to earn that chain. And I think that's very cool. It makes me want to ask JB about the process to get Donovan Mitchell because their games are very complementary. I think that's even with Darius being out with the injury, they've gelled really well. And I would love to know if he saw that in watching Mitchell play before, if he knew or had some idea that they would be able to play this well together when they went out and got him, if that was at all a factor in it, because it doesn't feel like it's a coincidence. Like, oh, look, they play well together. Like, it's just been too quick and too seamless. Somebody had to have recognized from watching the two of them that if you could get them on the same team, it would be insane because it has been.
Yeah, I just think, they play together like they've been playing together for years at this point. I've never really seen, somebody gel like this, almost the de facto leader. I feel like this is Donovan Mitchell's team and not Darius Garland's anymore. And I think Darius Garland is completely fine with that, especially when Darius was out. Donovan Mitchell held it down, and we
Well,
got a lot of key victories,
that's the,
with Donovan Mitchell leading the way.
yeah, that's the whole team mentality. The other night, Kevin Love was like 2 away from a triple double, 2 rebounds away, and so they were doing some interviews after the game, talking to some players, and they were like, "Yeah, we knew he was close, and we wanted to feed him the ball, but coaches like you got to go to the open man, you got to go for the win, everyone's got to do their thing, and so they're playing as a whole team. They're not playing for individual numbers. They're remembering that it's better to sacrifice your stats so that you get a team win. Tell Chris Styles that I don't know what he's saying, but he needs to stop distracting you when I'm talking.
that actually wasn't Chris Styles. That
Oh,
was
I thought it
Rockville.
was because he got enough attitude. I want to hear about Michigan struggling against Rutgers. Child, please take
you
it. Take
know,
it to the other room.
he was already talking back when I walked
Oh,
in
I
here
know.
about Ohio State.
Oh,
So
oh,
you
we'll
know how
we'll
that
hit
goes.
on the day after Thanksgiving, won't we?
Yeah, I
That's
know. I watched this
what
really good documentary called Rivals on Sports Time Ohio yesterday after the game went off. And it was really, really good talking about, the rivalry and, how it all began and the war at Toledo and stuff like that. And it just went into the whole rivalry. And it was a really, really good program. So I'm excited that came on yesterday. And it just makes me more pumped up. We're going to get to college football in a second after we talk a little Browns. But it just makes me even more excited that, that they're going to on this collision course to collide, and possibly both be undefeated teams going into this game again. And it's going to be huge since Michigan won last year. So we're going to go ahead and take our break. You've been listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
This Friday, November 11th, Mayor Justin Morris Bibb, the City of Cleveland's Community Relations Board, and Ward 5, Councilman Richard A. Starr invite you to celebrate former members of the Armed Forces at the Veterans Day celebration, beginning at 11 a.m. at Cleveland City Hall. The ceremonies kick off inside the City Hall Rotunda, 601 Lakeside Avenue. That's 11 a.m., followed by the Veterans Day Parade, marching on at noon. And just a few feet away at Cleveland Public Auditorium, veterans, their spouses, and their families can get assistance at the Veterans Resource Fair from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. An ID is required. For more information, contact Edwin Harris at 216-664-3578 or Donna Butler at 216-664-2309. We honor those who have served and protected our country and communities at this year's Veterans Day celebration, November 11th at Cleveland City Hall, 11 a.m. sharp, starting at the City Hall Rotunda and continuing at Cleveland Public Hall. The Veterans Day celebration is supported by Mayor Bibb and the City of Cleveland, the Cuyahoga County Veterans Service Commission, Ohio.
So you manning the show for the rest of the night?
Cuyahoga Community College, Case Western Reserve University,
Huh?
United Way of Greater
I
Cleveland,
know, it's exhausting. It's daylight savings time.
Richard Starr, and
I'm exhausted.
95.9
Like I might go to bed when I get home.
United, Burton Bell Clark,
I'm
Community
serious.
Radio.
I'm tired. It's been a long day. It usually take me like a week to adjust. I'm like a little baby or something. I can't stand it.
Both ways or just when it goes back?
I gotta go play Powerball
Welcome
before I
back
do
to
anything
Her
though.
in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
I might want a battle station.
I know that's right. Welcome back to Her in the Huddle on WOVU and 95.9 FM. Ladies, did y'all play y'all Powerball yet?
I did.
Yes.
Okay, I haven't, so I gotta hurry up when I leave from here and go play my Powerball. I'm excited for the jackpot. I'm kind of hoping nobody hit, so it could be even bigger for the next time when I play. But I was like, man, I might buy me a sports team, but I don't think that's enough to buy a sports team at this point. You need more than 1.9 billion, so
You could buy a radio station.
But then I had to leave WOVU, and I don't want to do that.
You can't do both?
Why not both?
Why not both?
I don't know.
You could do daytime talk on one channel and your evenings over here. You can quit your day job because you'll have 1.9 billion in the bank.
Yeah, that's very true.
1 billion in the bank. You probably have to spend 9 to get your radio station. Then you can put me and Brandy on, and between the three of us, we got y'all covered.
Sounds like a plan to me. So George said it's also so far trading 3 number ones to get Mitchell's working out. He said he needs to see how they work with adversity, but he likes this team and is enjoying the ride. One of the things, Kate, that you mentioned was about JB Bickerstaff and his coaching. What are your thoughts about him coaching his team right now and the hot start that they've got off to?
I'm real happy with it because, aside from his halftime speeches and his lineup experiments and stuff, he knows these players. He knows what he needs to do and what he needs to say to motivate them. And he's got them all in the right frame of mind to really understand and to develop the thing that you referred to earlier as Cavaliers basketball, right? Every team has an identity, and the struggle in Cleveland with a lot of our teams and in any sport has been to really find their identity. And JB has been very clear on what he wants it to be. We're big, we're intense for the whole 4 quarters, and we are going to play lockdown defense. And that's, the core of what he wants to do. It'll be interesting for me more if this team has success and continues to play this well and gets into a deep playoff run, if not a championship, to watch other teams going after more bigs and getting and trying to model more after what the Cavaliers are doing we've really gotten away from defense, and people have gotten onto the, the scoring fest with all the 3-point shots and everything. And while we can do that and we score with the best of them, he's really, worked on the basics with them, and the solid defense being a foundation of what they need to do. It's just no egos. Check your ego at the door, and he's done a very nice job with them. Like you said, I have been very critical of him. I've not liked some of his personnel groupings. I've not liked some of his decisions. But it seems like he hit it all on the head this year. I can't complain about anything, and I like
Yeah.
to.
There's no timetable just yet for Ricky Rubio to return. So I'm thinking he's probably going to return at the beginning of the year, possibly when the schedule starts to get tougher and we head towards the All-Star break. Brandy, what are your thoughts about how JB Bicker's staff has been coaching?
Yeah, I think he's done pretty well so far this season compared to what, we've seen the past few seasons. One thing I will say about him compared to, other coaches around the league, sometimes you see he doesn't, other coaches may not have all the players' full attention, but I think with this Cavs team, he really does, they want to listen to him. They want his help. And I think that's very important for a team, especially as young as the Cavs are. He's become a real leader for them. But like Kate said, I'm also curious to see, once the Cavs get into playoff time, which I think they will, I'm curious to see, how his coaching will play out in tough playoff games.
Yeah, how he does in a half court game. But I think he found his finisher. Colin Sexton kind of was that finisher for him, but Colin got hurt. But, Donovan Mitchell is, the finisher and can close out games. So I think, he's enjoying the process of being able to coach a player like that he hasn't had before on this team. So it's something new for him. And like you said, putting together the combinations out there that could work, using Kevin Love and the right ability and capacity, using Jetty, as well, Dean Wade, things like that, where you've been able to put them in positions to be successful. And I think that's one of the things that he's done as a coach, and putting this team in a place where they can thrive, and they're thriving off of each other. They're playing for off of each other, and they're playing for him. And that's one of the things that you don't see too often. So I think that they're enjoying this. Eventually they will lose. They're going to lose another game. But how does this team react and bounce back from that? Because right now, potentially these Western Conference teams that they're playing aren't too great right now. The Warriors are not doing well at all. So they possibly could go in and steal that game out of Golden State. Steph Curry always gets up for the Cleveland Cavaliers, but they possibly could steal that game. So, what does this team look like in adversity? And I think that they will be able to come through it because they believe in their coach. So, all right, let's go
I'm
ahead and
I'm gonna throw two things at you. Number one, why did
yes.
announcers have to keep saying Dean Wade's whole name? Because it sounds like they're saying D Wade, and I'm like, who are they talking? It's very confusing, and it's not funny. Just call him Wade, because you don't call anyone else their whole name like that. The second thing is, JB has always, for me, been reminiscent of Tito in that he's a player's coach. And I worry, to Brandy's point, let's see how he does in the long, in the end run stretch if we get into the playoffs and how that goes. Because he may have to make some difficult decisions. Right now, they're easy decisions. Right now, you're up by 20 points, so you let the bench players in, and they're loving the fact that they're getting to play real minutes at the end of some of these games when we've got a nice lead, and they are all looking to him and listening to him and following his orders, and something I always had a problem with, whether it was LeBron or Kyrie or some of the other superstars that we've had in town, is they weren't coachable. They didn't want to listen to the head coach, and I'm not seeing that with any of these guys. They are all more than willing to listen to what JB has to say. We'll see what happens if we get into a situation where you and I and Brandy maybe, and random Cleveland fan thinks somebody should be getting more minutes or somebody should be getting benched, and JB sticking with them. Like, Tito sometimes leaves those pitchers in a little long or whatever. We'll see it. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and I think probably because this team is so young, why you're able to get them. I don't know if Ty Lue had to check LeBron one time in the huddle, and LeBron started coaching, and Ty Lue yanked the clipboard from him, and he said an expletive, but let him know he got this, and then that's when LeBron was like, okay, I believe in what is it, Ty Lue. But also JB used to be Kevin's coach in Minnesota as well, so I think that helps. That they've had that relationship, because Kevin is the oldest on this team. They called him Grandpa. LeBron called him Grandpa yesterday.
Yeah.
So him being the oldest on this team, you look to your leaders. And 2 years ago, that wasn't the Kevin Love that anybody would look up to, and now they all look up to him as well.
Yeah.
Now, so
we always say it. Everybody says it, right? Winning fixes everything. As long as
Yep.
they're winning, they're going to look to JB and they're going to listen and they're going to do it because we're winning. If we hit some adversity, if we have some injuries, if something happens and we stop winning, again, we'll see if he can hold on to this team. I think he can, but that's when it'll really be tested. Right now, it's kind of easy, frankly.
Yeah, so I'm super excited. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stay up and watch this game all night long since it comes on at 10:30. But I'm sure going to try, because this daylight savings time is killing me, and I think all I want to do is go home and go to bed.
Do you hate both of them, or just the one where you turn the clocks back and you get another hour?
I struggle with both of them. I always have. I'm like a baby.
All I got to say.
Huh?
I went to church on time Sunday.
Oh, good. Because I was supposed to be somewhere, and I was a little bit late. And usually I'm always on time for everything, but I was a little bit late because I couldn't wake up.
I hear you. I'm sorry. Brandy's
thanks.
Happy. She probably don't have no problems with daylight savings time. Plus, she lives in a digital world where her phone automatically didn't have to walk around the apartment and manually figure out how to change. My microwave is still wrong. Still wrong.
Your car?
That I got my car is still wrong. I don't know that I'll even change my car. I'll just in 6 months it'll be right again.
Yeah, but 1 hour, like, it's dark in 1 hour now. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't like it being dark at like 5:15 at night. I don't know why we still have daylight savings time. I told you I was going to run for president, and the only issue I was going to run on was eliminating daylight savings time. It's ridiculous. I'm done.
I love daylight savings times. I like it being dark, not getting dark until 8 o'clock. I love that. I do.
Change your clock back because you just said it messes you up. Girl, you can't have it both ways.
Why not both? So Ricky Smith.
Why not just the workday and daylight savings time instead of leave your clock alone, and instead of 9 to 5, we're all going to work 8 to 4. How about that?
I do that already.
Or 10 to 6, whatever it is. Shift your hours. If you work 11 to 7, you're now working 10 to 6. Just shift the work hours back and leave the damn clocks alone.
So Ricky Smith agrees with you. He said, Kyrie, Mr. Flat Earth, not coachable. Imagine that. He also said, aren't we on standard time now and just left daylight? Yes, Ricky, you are right. I struggle with both, though. So we are in standard time now. So we're back to where we're at. So Cleveland Browns, really quickly, because I want to get a little bit into Ohio State. Cleveland Browns, so big win on Monday night last week, national audience. This team did everything right. Thoughts about the game, Brandy? Start with you. Thoughts about the Cleveland Browns on Monday night?
Yeah, I think they've played pretty well against Joe Burrow. We've seen the past few seasons against him, and I think in this game they did that well. They stuck to what has worked for them in the beginning of the season, especially on the offense. And I think, the defense, they played pretty well. They were tackling well. They weren't having those big miscommunications like we've seen. So that is what I've liked.
Are they 6-0 versus Joe Burrow now, or 5-0?
4-0.
4-0?
4-0. We only saw Joe Burrow once his rookie year. So once, twice last year, and then once so far this year. They're 4-0. I missed last Monday's show because it was trick or treat. So I was outside passing out candy. And we don't, I have a long driveway, and I don't want the kids to waste time running up the driveway. So we set up a table down at the end of the driveway by the sidewalk and pass out candy. And one of my neighbors yells across the street, hey, what's the score of the Browns game going to be tonight? And I knew he was talking to me, right? Because who else could he be talking to? And I said 31-10. And he said, who? I said, I don't know. Because it could go either way. This team could do what they did, or Cincinnati could be like, listen, we're really good. You suck. We went to the Super Bowl last year. You're not in our heads anymore. Whatever that weird thing is where Cincinnati can't beat the Browns is gone. This is a new Bengals team, and we're going to wipe up the floor with you. Like, it could have gone either way. I was really close on the final score, but I was not surprised. I was excited to see them tackling. I don't think I can say loud enough how poorly this team has tackled all year and how well they tackled this week. Frankly, I was surprised Cincinnati didn't try to run the ball more. Looking at the yardage we gave up on running to the Falcons and the Ravens and the Patriots, I thought the Bengals and Joe Mixon or whoever were just going to run all over us. And the problem is we got off to enough lead that they abandoned the run and went to the passing game, and our secondary was on point this week. So I tweeted, I don't know who these guys are masquerading on Halloween as my Browns football team, but I would like them to play the rest of this game and the rest of the season. So we got a couple more weeks before Deshaun's back. It's an interesting schedule up ahead. Lots of winnable games still, and our division is still a mess. I didn't think I'd live to see the day Pittsburgh was clearly the cellar dweller of the AFC North. But there's, the Ravens made some interesting moves at the trade deadline to try to improve their defense, and they're going to be really tough the rest of the year. So we'll see if the spark of Deshaun coming back is enough to keep us in contention for the division.
All right, we're going to take a break really quickly. We'll come back and talk some more Browns football and then move on to the Ohio State University. You're listening to Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
November 17th at 6 p.m. Join us for the live broadcast of Community Conversations, Raising Our Voices, presented by the United Way of Greater Cleveland and the YWCA. This month's topic is racism as a public health crisis, with panelists from Cuyahoga County's Citizens Advisory Council on Equity and Cleveland's Racism as a Public Health Crisis Coalition. The discussion will focus on the impact of racism on public health in Northeast Ohio, why it's important for racism to be viewed as a public health crisis locally, and what's being done about it now and for the future. Want to join the conversation? Register at unitedwaycleveland.org to receive the event Zoom link. Join us live for Community Conversations, Raising Our Voices on November 17th at 6 p.m. Brought to you by the United Way of Greater Cleveland, the YWCA, and WOVU 95.9 FM. Our Voices United. Burton Belcar Community Radio.
Welcome back to Her in the Huddle with Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports.
All right, welcome back to Her in the Huddle, WOVU 95.9 FM. This is your girl, Rachel Hill, the First Lady of Sports, and I'm here with Brandy Fairfax and Miss Cleveland Kate, and we were talking a little bit about Browns football and how beautiful that win was on Monday night, where everything was working, everything was able to execute correctly, and Kate had brought up the defense and how they've changed and they've how they're actually tackling and playing defense. And Martin Emerson had a great game on Monday night as well. So I was really, proud of him for being able to step in and perform, as a non-starter and perform just as well as a starter. So I think he was one of the sparks on the defense. Myles Garrett was able to get after Joey Burrow and kind of be that player that everybody thinks he should be. So he had a great game. And the Browns, their defensive numbers have been improving, and they were 31st in DVOA, and now they're 27th. And they went from 27th in pass defense to 16th. So that's a huge jump. So that's really good for them as well. So they played better defense, and they were able to see the results from that, the fruits of those labors, because in other games where they played great defense, something hasn't happened positively, and usually that's the offense, so offense kind of kept the defense off the field and avoided them being gassed.
For sure. And Cincinnati just looked awful the whole time. They just weren't clicking on all cylinders. They couldn't get a rhythm going. I think this was like the first game of the year where they didn't score a touchdown in the first quarter, or any points. I mean, it was just a whole offensive nightmare for them. I think we just threw things at them from the defensive side that they weren't expecting. Because this defense has not been great this year. It's been, I don't know if vanilla is the right word, but it's been a little predictable. And Joe Woods coached like he knew what he was doing. I don't know. It was nerve-wracking. The entire game was nerve-wracking. I would like to tell you it was fun to watch. And maybe if I rewatched it right now, knowing how it ends, it would be fun to watch. I kept waiting the whole game for us to blow it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem with being a Browns fan, right? It goes all the way back to that Jets game. And, we've had the lead with 2 minutes left in almost every game this year, all but I think 2, and have blown it. So, I don't know. I would like to think this is a sign of better things to come, but I have learned in my way too many years as a Browns fan to just enjoy the moment, enjoy the week without a loss, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And no more Amari Cooper throwing balls. You don't have Jarvis and Odell Beckham no more with those arms. No more Amari Cooper trying to throw.
Is Monday I actually watched the broadcast with Peyton and Eli Manning. They are hilarious. And they were talking all kinds of shrimp about Amari Cooper and that pass. And they were like, he needs to get a touchdown. He needs to get that off his back. He needs to make up for it for the fantasy people who have him at the negative point for the interception. They were so much fun to listen to because I knew I didn't want to hear the national announcers talking about the drive and the fumble and Deshaun and all of that negativity they were going to throw at me. So I'm like, let's try out the Cooper, the Manning brothers. And it was pretty fun.
Was that your first time watching the Manning cast?
Yeah, the Manning cast. And they had the Kelsey brothers on who are from Cleveland.
Yeah.
Jason, Travis. They said very complimentary things about Cleveland and the Browns. So that was nice. I'd love to get one or both of them in Browns uniforms.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, though. But it's so cute how they go to each other's games and stuff.
It is. And they're doing a podcast now. They're starting one, the two of them. So they're almost as funny as Peyton and Eli. They were like, Mom says we don't play together, so now we're doing a podcast, so we have to see each other every week, and just that kind of thing. So I love them.
I wonder, where do they live at? Do they live in the same city or state together?
No, Jason lives in Philly, and Travis lives in.
No, I'm talking about the Manning brothers.
No, they do not.
Okay.
But I can't think of where they live now, but they do not live in the same state.
Oh, okay.
Peyton's in Mountain Time. I know that because he actually said something about it Monday being what time they were going to do something. And he was like, hey, now I'm in Mountain Time, which is 2 hours behind us, not just 1.
Yeah.
So I don't know where they're living, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, ladies.
I figured he'd be the AD at Tennessee by now, but apparently not. Can't believe the Vols lost to Georgia. Completely blew up college rankings this weekend with Alabama losing for the second time in one season. And I don't know that I've been alive the last time that happened.
Yeah, you have. Remember, Alabama used to suck until Saban got there.
Well, he's been there forever, so it feels like he's been there forever.
Yeah, he has, but
did the rankings yet?
Huh?
Did the rankings come out today? Where are the Buckeyes at?
Still at 2.
I'll take it. Georgia can be 1. We can be 2.
Yeah, they have Michigan at 3, TCU's at 4, Tennessee's 5, Bama dropped to 10.
With 2 losses, Bama should be out.
Yeah, they shouldn't be anywhere.
And Michigan had just as much trouble with Rutgers as we had with Northwestern. And I can't believe they moved all the way to 3, but I get it because Tennessee's victory over Bama doesn't look as good when Bama loses to LSU. So I knew Tennessee was going to drop. Mm-hmm. I just wasn't sure who they were going to bounce up in there. I like TCU. I got no problem with them.
Yeah, I'm good with them too.
What I don't want is to finish 2 with Michigan 3 because we got to play them the weekend after Thanksgiving. And if they somehow, I guess if we beat them, we'll knock them out because I don't want to have to face them in the playoffs in that first round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because 2 plays 3. But if they lose to us, they're out. So they'll be out of the top 5.
But you never know though, because there's a I mean, if TCU loses,
or depending on what everybody else does. That Notre Dame win was something over
oh
Clemson.
yeah, I hate Dabo, so I'm pretty glad that
I liked
Notre
him.
Dame won.
I'm done with him now. I'm over it.
You like Dabo, Sweeney?
For a little bit when he was beating up Alabama. I liked anybody who can beat Alabama, but yeah, I'm good. You think Nick Chubb was at that Tennessee game?
Probably
go to
so.
games the way like Odell and Jarvis used to go to LSU games and they'd show him. Do you think Chubb just quietly goes to the games, or does he go and make a big old spectacle of himself in the locker room and stuff?
I don't know, because Nick Chubb doesn't seem like he does anything for fun.
Right. I feel like if he went, like he would have sunglasses on, like nobody would know who he was. He'd be, Jared Allen, who couldn't sneak into anything. Nick Chubb with like a hat on and a hoodie, you wouldn't know who he was. And he could sneak into the game and out again. We should have asked him, Rachel.
I feel like Nick Chubb reads the Bible for fun.
It was a bye week. You got to do something on a bye week. And that's what a lot of those guys do. They go to their brother's game, or they go to they go back to where they went to college and they go check a game. Bradley Chubb, the other Chubb, not related, got traded last week too.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of movement in the
next.
I wish we'd have gotten Brandon Cooks. That would have been nice. But I don't know what's going on with him in the Texans. He's still inactive and out, and they're having spats, and he's mad that they didn't trade him, and it's a whole thing going on down there. I would have taken Brandon Cooks to run with Amari Cooper all day.
Well, we're a month away, so maybe he still won't be playing by the time that it's time for them to come back. So Ohio State, do y'all feel like that game? Because I possibly have thought, because how we didn't have any style points against that game, that we possibly were in danger of dropping this past weekend. So I'm glad that we are still at number 2, but I'm like, it's Northwestern of all teams. And Northwestern had the same crappy weather that we had to play in as well. And they pretty much beat us in every facet of the game.
Those 50-mile-an-hour winds are no joke. That was brutal. And what I saw against Northwestern was the same thing I saw the week before against Penn State. It took them 2 and then into the third quarter to kind of figure it out and wear them down. And then we dominated for the rest of the game. And I think that's what the committee's looking at, is we got up to a rough start. But once we figured it out and started just hitting everything mid-third quarter till early fourth, we tired them out and dominated the rest of that game. And I think that's why we stayed at 2. And also, again, Michigan struggled against Rutgers. So I think that's why we stayed at 2. But I think we're going to have a more decisive win against Indiana this weekend. And I'm going to that game, by the way. So
you are?
I am. I might have an extra ticket. Call me. So I'm going for that game soon. So we need a much more decisive victory this week just to make sure that we stay ahead of Michigan. Ultimately, it doesn't matter. Michigan can beat 2 and we can beat 3. As long as we beat them on that last Saturday in November, it doesn't matter what ranking they are, because they will be out and we will be in.
Because didn't you say you was having a party that game?
We always have a Michigan party, and I don't know if I want to have one this year.
Why?
I don't know.
This was the year I was coming.
Was it?
We were invited.
If you're going to come, Rachel, I will have my party. You can bring Brandon on the way. I'll make my chili and cornbread, and I have my bar open. It'll be slamming. I have a bedroom, a guest room if you want to just sleep over. It'll be fine.
Yeah, me and Brandy going to come.
All right. I'll text you my address. I'll text it to both of you. You come. Party starts an hour before kickoff is when this food is served. If the weather's nice, we'll smoke some ribs. We'll smoke a brisket, maybe a pork shoulder. You ain't had my barbecue in a very long time.
Oh, I know. That bacon was delicious. Brandy, she brought me some bacon. It was amazing.
And we make our own. So, okay, we'll have a party. Just don't tell DJ Chris Styles he ain't invited. When invited to his wedding, he ain't invited to my barbecue. That's how.
This will just be for her in the huddle, so only. But ladies, I want to thank you. It's been a great show. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers playing tonight, and then when we come back on Monday, we'll see what happens after we play the Miami Dolphins, which is a winnable game, by the way.
more often. I feel like Brandy doesn't ever get to say nothing unless you call on her first because I just jibber jabber the whole time.
We working on it. Brandy will be fine. But for Brandy, for Cleveland Kate, and for me, this is Her in the Huddle on WOVU at 95.9 FM. We are out of here. All right, ladies. Good show tonight.
Live.
Huh?
It says we're still live.
Oh yeah. That's fine. Y'all gonna watch the game tonight?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to stay up and watch.
If you go to that Buckeyes game with me Saturday, let me know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me check my schedule. I don't think I got anything going on, so I think I should be able to do it.
I got really good seats.
You do? Okay.
26th row.